Hey there, Magic Maker. It's Deb D here for your Sunday Surrender. And this Sunday, it's me, your magical guide, the Sun, Jupiter, and the Enchanted Map. So as we do on a Sunday, we're going to look at our energy forecast, what's coming up in the sky as above, so below in our week ahead, and get some insight from the sky and from our oracle of choice this week, which is our Enchanted Map. What do we got coming up this week, Magic Makers? Well, we have a little bit of sextiling happening this week. Jupiter, gorgeous, big, fortune, good luck, want to expand and help you, Jupiter is meeting the Sun in the sky tomorrow on our Monday for a sextile. Now, if you don't know, it is kind of how it sounds. Sextile? Sextile in astro language is having a good time. So the Sun and Jupiter are going to be sextile tomorrow, our Monday, in the sky. And that's how we begin the week. That's got to feel good, What does that mean? So the sun is you. The Sun is earthbound you. The Sun is light. It is like all of what is possible. And that Sun, you, will be meeting Jupiter for a sextile. Now Jupiter, if you haven't picked it up already, Jupiter is the superstar planet of 2022. Jupiter is really active and causing some great dance moves in the sky for 2022, which is really good news for us Magic Makers, for Jupiter being a very slow moving planet, likes the slower dance moves, but in that slow and steady movement, Jupiter is bringing fortune, luck, expansion. Jupiter wants to help you expand, grow, and actually build in possibilities. And with the Sun and some sextile action, it's a stellar way to begin our week. So if we're going to begin the week with the Sun and Jupiter, I'm curious, what would the Enchanted Map like us to know about the week coming up? So Magic Makers, let's get ready. Feet on the ground, grounding in for our weekly Oracle Insight. What's our forecast? What should we be aware of? What is possible? Shuffling the cards for us all now. It's all possible, says Jupiter. Jupiter says, if you step and move towards me, I can help expand what you want to be. So just breathing that in, what would you like to expand in your world? Where in your world are you seeking a little bit more luck or fortune? Do you want to vibe in Jupiter there? You might also want to look in your own astro chart. Where's Jupiter in your chart? For that's the area of life where you might be the most lucky. So let's now look into this week ahead, just shuffling the cards for us all Magic Makers. And as we do when we're working with our Oracle, we're letting go of what we want to hear. We're allowing the highest good to come on down and through. We're grounding into our own magic. And we're just opening up to what is in the highest good for us to know now as we enter this week. We are on the other side of eclipse season. We are on the other side of some big moving moves, dance moves across the sky in the last few weeks with that eclipse. And it's still kind of shifting with our Mercury Retrograde. Pluto's also active. Pluto wants to transform. What could maybe transform and expand in your world? It's a lot to kind of vibe in. So how do we ground in this changeable energy? How do we seek the transformation? What can we say yes to in order to expand? Shuffling, shuffling, shuffling. And what I'm going to do this week, Magic Makers, is I'm going to pull a card a guiding card. Let's see, we might need to clarify. I'm going to give myself a little like, there's a window open. But let's see if we can feel into the magic of a guiding insight. Almost like our North Star of the week as the Sun and Jupiter begin our week. And you know, as you know, the planets like to move about, so there's going to be more action. We're still working through our Mercury retrograde. You may still be taking a big deep breath after the eclipse. So, seeking for this week, what if we were to choose just one card? What if we just anchored in to one guiding principle, insight, point of attention, influence, awareness? What would that be? I wonder. For I don't know. But we're about to find out, Magic Makers. Taking a big deep breath in with me now, calling in all guidance, love, light available to us all. We are open to receiving what is in the highest good for Magic Makers to know now about the week we are moving into. What are we moving into? What have we received? Oh, interesting. We receive rock bottom, but in this position. So not upright, in the reversed position, number 10, rock bottom. So let's read this card so that we can get a real sense. Spectacles on, Magic Makers, number 10, rock bottom. Now the thing that happens when we're working with cards is you may get something that says rock bottom and you'll be like, that's not the card that I wanted. I wanted a little bit more Jupiter optimism. But is this maybe what we need? Let's see, reverse, rock bottom. Reverse, this card is the symbol for addiction in all forms, subtle or obvious. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results will never provide you with what you desire. At this moment, there is nowhere else to go, and you're facing the end of a road. If you fear change, be willing to change. Surrender your wants to a higher power, ask for truth, and allow humility to be your guiding force from within. You will always get what you need. You are only a victim of your perceptions. Take heart, because you can't sink any further. The only way to go from here is up, and wondrous things await. Okay, so let's now vibe in. If we are working with rock bottom reversed as our guide for this week, and you know, as I always say, you want to anchor into your own magic. Like what kind of came alive in you when I said rock bottom, when I showed the card reversed. Whatever may be sparked alive in you, that might be where you might want to begin. And we are going to just stay with rock bottom reversed as our guiding principle. For it says, if we continue to do what we have done, you will get what you've always got. The eclipse that we've just finished, there's still kind of some ripples there. That eclipse energy was realigning and changing. Did you say yes to those changes? Have they started to take place in your world, or are they still aligning? Mercury likes to review, redo, realign. Are we needing to maybe realign any of our communications or any of our partnerships? Rock bottom says, go ahead, do exactly what you've been doing over and over again, and you will continue to get what you've got. Or if you wish to take the guidance of the week, you could just surrender to where you are and say, okay, I know that change is tricky and it can feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I know on the other side of that comfort zone line is where the magic happens. So from here, if you're rock bottom, look up, Magic Maker, and what are the possibilities that are there sparking for you. Don't ebb away from being at the bottom. Like being at the place where you're like, well, I don't want to go deeper in this. This is not where I want to stay. What do you need to let go of in order to make some space for the change to come in and manifest? We are also in a waning moon, which is the time to let go and make some space before that new moon. So staying with rock bottom, how can we this week stay where we are and not continue to dig ourselves in, not be stubborn and say, well, it's not my fault that I'm here and I'm not moving. How can we say yes to the view from down the bottom? For Jupiter says, I can help you expand and grow and change. I can bring some luck and fortune. So how can you bring that in? What is possible? Let's pull a clarifier. Let's get one more. I had a feeling this was going to happen. Then I thought, nah, just stay with one card. Nah, we want the clarifier. It was pretty clear. Let's get a clarifier for our rock bottom reversed. So to be clear, when we choose a clarifier, when we're working with the oracle, we're not saying, well, we didn't want rock bottom. Give us something else. What we're asking is for clarification and a deepening of that message. What's another perspective? What else should we be aware of within our rock bottom? And as I'm shuffling the cards, just vibe in for yourself, Magic Maker. What do I need to know more about my rock bottom? My place where I'm like, you know what, that part of my world, I don't want that to stay the same. I don't want to keep doing that. I desire change. Man, Jupiter wants to change with you. Pluto, active also this week. Pluto's all about transformation. But let me tell you this, did you know this? The planets as above will have absolutely energetic influence over you, but you, my Magic Maker, have a very strong earthbound free will. So if you want to stay at the bottom, if you want to stay stuck there and say, well, it's not my fault I'm here, or if you want to stay at the bottom with like, I think I might just stay here because it's too scary to change, you can do that. Your free will, your magical ability is that powerful. Or you could say, what happens if I look up, what are the possibilities? What could I bring in and transform with Pluto? What could I expand and change and add some fortune and luck to? With Jupiter, maybe for you, your rock bottom is like, well, here we go again. I'm moving into a week where I really don't like my job. Or I'm moving into a week where I'm like, and again, no dates, despite the fact that I keep manifesting I want to have some love in my life. Or beginning a week again, looking at the bank account and going, yep, that's the same number. Where's your reality? Where's that place? And what can you change from there? Because the change, it's you. You're the sun, it's you. What is possible? So we're going to get a clarifier now. Magic Makers, clarifier for our rock bottom is... we get the goblins. Oh, it's quite a week. We get the goblins again in reversed. Now, to be clear, I am going to read goblins in reverse. Goblins is number 5. We're early in the deck in the Enchanted Map. What a week. Rock bottom and goblins reversed. Yes, Mercury. I'm telling you, there's some magic at play, and it may not feel magical in every moment, but the magic's there. It's often difficult to deal with someone else's issues because they impact your own. No one's perfect, but in this case, you're particularly vulnerable to being manipulated. Don't take this world personally. When the Goblin's card arrives reversed, it's a sign to step back with detachment. Don't let other people's stuff lead you into reacting from an old wound. Love yourself unconditionally, set boundaries, and your goblins will just fall asleep. Love is the only answer. Okay, so that, my friends, is a little bit of that Mercury retrograde. Mercury in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is the twins. Gemini is all about communication. Gemini is Mercury. They're coupled together. And so when we're thinking about what it is that we want to change, anchor into what do you know is true for you in this change. And when we are at a place of rock bottom, we can feel vulnerable because maybe the abundance isn't there in the bank account, or maybe the last 3 dates you went on really sucked, or maybe that change that you've wanted to bring into your life, whether it's about love, abundance, well-being, you've been trying and it kind of hasn't really been happening yet. And it creates this vibration of vulnerability, and we can begin to look outside of ourselves thinking somebody else has the answer, or I don't know enough to be able to solve this myself. So while we are at our rock bottom and actually being in our truth, just sitting there looking up, we can only go up from here. Listen to yourself this week. Absolutely be open to guidance, be open to, insight, but take it in, digest it, and then say, how does that sit in my belly? Is that mine to keep, or is that somebody else's business? Is that somebody else's wish for me? So this week, we are going to find our sweet spot at rock bottom and affirm to yourself, I can fly from here. I can pull in what I want to transform with Pluto. I can say yes to Jupiter and the Sun starting our week and say, you know what? I want to change from here. What in your world do you want to change? What in your world do you want more luck or fortune in? This is the week to actually anchor in and say, okay, I'm going to put this to the front of the line, not to the bottom of the to-do list. I'm going to put this to the front of the line and actively listen to myself, anchor into my own magic, and find my way out of this hole. It's like Alice in Wonderland, how she fell down the hole and she was like, okay, I don't know where I am, but she finds so much wonder. Crazy characters, learning from self. This is our week going ahead. And this is my advice. Stay with it. What I often see people do as a magical guide is they receive some guidance and they're like, oh yeah, I see that. Yeah, oh, you're right, you're so right. And that happens on a Sunday. And then by the Tuesday, they're off in a new direction, or they don't want to be there anymore because that wasn't really, it wasn't really vibing with them. Or they decide that by Tuesday or Wednesday, I just want a different message now. Or it's just forgotten. What I advise you to do is stay with, as I'm speaking now, what feels like it is itching for change. And what can you anchor into and do differently this week, listening to self, to get yourself from that rock bottom place, moving up with Jupiter, transforming with Pluto. And I advise this, stay with it. For when we stay with guidance, it deepens, it expands, and it shows us the way to the transformation and the healing that we seek. Too often people are seeking that magic pill. Right, I'll be at rock bottom Monday and Tuesday. By Wednesday, it should be golden. Sometimes, sure, energy can move quickly, but not always. And this is why when I'm working with people now, when people are working with me for oracle guidance, I don't do one-off readings anymore. I do a 21-day magic map activation because I was finding people were having amazing readings with me. And they were getting, oh, I can see that, yep, that makes sense. Oh, absolutely. That's exactly what I needed to hear. And then a week or maybe a month later, I tap in with that magic maker and some things have shifted, but really the true healing and activation of the magic possible was not ignited. And that's okay. We're all doing that in different ways. But this is why I decided, okay, well, how can I support as a magical guide? I'm actually going to slow that roll. And I know that the healing cycle is 21 days. So I'm going to support magic makers for 21 days. So when you get a reading with me, step 1 is I and you as magical playmates, energy reading, oracle reading, intuitive guidance, and then your magic map is laid out. I can see it clearly. Some people can see it clearly. Some people are still like, oh, this is all new. I don't really know what's going on. But that's okay, because step 2 is for 21 days. You stay connected to me, and I give you every 7 days a new magic healing activation. And why? Because healing and transformation take time, and they want your attention and your participation and your play. And so now I support people for 21 days and say, hey, you could try this. How's that going for you? Let me know what's changing in your world. And then step 3, we meet again for the anchoring session. Are you on the map? Do you know your way? So it's kind of like you get to be Alice, but you're Alice in Wonderland and you got the map. You're not needing to ask the Cheshire Cat for the way and get some weird answers. You are going to be guided. And this is why I encourage you, even if it doesn't feel like you want to, be at what is rock bottom for you. Because the opportunity there is, if you say yes to that space and then bring Jupiter in with you, with that sun, what's possible? It's only up from here. So be in the discomfort of being true to self. How did I arrive here? What vibration have I participated in to arrive here, and what am I willing to change? Where can I ask support from the universe? And if I am asking for support or getting some guidance from others, I'm going to ensure that I'm listening to myself, because this change is mine. You get to make all of the choices on your magic map. So this week, let's all begin being real and just affirming for yourself now, Magic Maker, what in your world do you want to change? Once you know what it is, are you willing to change it? Are you willing to do differently? Try something new? Let go, forgive, reach out in a new direction? And the whole time, our clarifier said, look out for the goblins, because Mercury can make things confusing. Really listen to yourself. You are the most magic you will ever meet. And from your rock bottom, the sky is the limit. Okay, magic makers, I am wishing you the most amazing rise from rock bottom, meeting Jupiter, Pluto, the sun, and all of the magic in the sky this week. I will be back for Witch Wednesday, where on Wednesday I'm actually going to begin to share in a new direction. I'm trying something new. We're changing it up a little bit for Witch Wednesday. More of that in a few days. And also linked below is the information about those magic map readings. If that sounds like a way forward for you from your rock bottom, then reach out, because I'll reach towards you. Okay, magic makers, anchoring into our magic now, wishing you the most amazing week, looking up to all the possibilities available to you just on the other side of change. Big love, many blessings, and always, every beat of the week, remember that it's you, my friend. It is you that is the magic.